Okay, we're ready.
All right, good evening. We're going to call the public portion of this meeting back to order at 7:03 p.m. And I'd like to start by rising to salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, so the board just came out of a non-public session under RSA 91A32C, and I'll entertain any motions.
Make a motion that we move that the board just came out of non-public under RSA 91-A:32, A and C, and that they
Just
keep
C.
all matters discussed confidential until, in the opinion of the majority of the board, the circumstances no longer apply.
Second.
Okay, I would just,
For discussion, this seems, Diane?
It's just C. You only
Yep.
went into C, reputation, not A and C.
yeah, and I would just add that there was a piece of information that we allowed the town administrator to move
Well, you're
forward.
going to make that motion out here, right?
No, this was a different one, so
Okay.
we can actually strike that because town administrator was in the meeting, so we don't have to release it to the town administrator. So strike, forget I said anything.
Okay, good.
All right.
I will.
all-
Already forgot.
Exactly. All in favor?
I think aye.
Okay. All righty then. So we are on to B. The road agent has an update for us on guardrails on Country Pond Road.
Good evening, Board. Mike Pavero, Road Agent. Quick history. I'm giving you an update, but the resident didn't reach out to me. The resident reached out to the town administrator, and in turn, he relayed it down to me. So a resident on Wilderness Grove Road had a concern with some guardrail that we put in there 5 or 6 years ago. It was used guardrail to save cost. We installed it when we did the repair to the arch culvert that came out of Ice Pond, had failed. We put 2 new head walls in, and the resident had a concern on the guardrail. I in turn called the town engineer. He went down and looked at it, and while he was down, he noticed the guardrail on the other side of the road was deficient as well, and it's been there for a long time. And his recommendation is we do something with the guardrail, improve it, do something. This will fall back onto the board. We'll have to get some pricing. My recommendation is to put it on a town warrant. I prefer not to take it out of my operating budget because it's gonna be somewhere, and I'm guessing, don't hold me to this number.
Yep.
I'm guessing it's probably $20,000 or $25,000 to do that guardrail, which would mean I don't get to repair, replace, or improve 300 or 400 feet of road. So that's the update. Kind of falls back on you guys on how we want to get some funding for that. And that's it. Any questions?
I'm sorry, is there a ballpark?
25, 30 grand is what you think.
25,
Yeah,
30?
but it hasn't been put
Don't
out
hold
to
them
bid.
accountable.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Did Mike McNally give you an engineer's estimate on it?
I don't have, excuse me, Mr. Chairman, through you to the board, I don't have that estimate yet, but it's a good idea, Mike. I think that would be step one. So we get the information correct in the article for the funds that we need if we go that route.
Yeah, we should get some hard prices from it. I mean, an engineer's estimate is great, but if you're gonna put it on a warrant, that number won't exceed whatever we put on a warrant, so we gotta make sure we're accurate.
Right.
Yeah, I think, oh, Charlie.
You got
go
a hand
ahead.
up for me?
Yeah, just a question.
Yeah.
Mike, what's our liability?
It's the same as a liability on everything in the town, Charlie. Once we're notified of it, we have liability.
Right, okay.
And that probably applies to every street we have here in the town of Newton.
Okay, just curious.
Yeah?
So I have a question. Can the funds come from the highway block grant as that's part of,
Oh, good, no, it can come out of the highway block grant, but again, it goes back to what I said a few minutes ago. That'll deplete what I can do for road repairs the following year.
Right.
It'll, and I'm guessing that it's probably a 300 or 400 feet, depending on what the price comes in from the guardrail that I can't improve.
Okay,
And I'm right now, you saw the engineer's estimate, I'm $1.7 million behind, so wherever we want to pull the funds from.
Mark, did you have something to add?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, through you to the board and to Mike, I would like to, maybe we could even look at something as creative as a Safe Streets program. I know that it's a multiple phase program. You and I have talked about that.
Right.
Maybe look for additional state funding,
Which is grant related.
which is grant related.
Yeah.
And I think an assessment has to be done. So if we got a leg up on the costing out of some of the infrastructure repairs that are needed, that might help us. And so I think we might take a look at that, maybe as an idea going forward. I mean, to see if there's an ability to get a
No,
grant like
absolutely.
that.
Wherever we can get funding from, and not to drag this topic out, but on the other end of Wilders Road, I got a failing culvert that's been failing for 4 years. I did a temporary repair on that. Trish, who's behind me, we put in grant money, or not, we've applied for grant money. We haven't heard back, we don't know if we're gonna get it. But that's another gray cloud over my head that has to be dealt with sooner than later, and we don't have the funds.
I mean, I guess step one, I think, is to get hard numbers, but step two is I think we try everything. If we have to look at grants, once we have hard numbers, right? Look at grants, and then worst comes to worst, I think we're putting it on a warrant article, maybe, to, which we don't have to write those for a couple more months, but I don't know, what's everybody else think?
I think that's exactly what we need to do. Like Mike talked about, we can't be taking any money for the roads because we're already behind. We need to get these roads back up to snuff as quickly as we can with what we got. So slowly chip away at them and try to come up with some money somewhere.
All right, I mean, it's my recommendation we do.
Right.
Well, I mean, if you guys choose that
Yeah,
we need to, then
yeah,
we can.
right.
I don't think it's.
Yeah, Mike told us not to do that, everybody. Diane?
so I would have a concern about putting it as a warrant article, only for the fact that it was just stated that this is a liability issue. So we are liable at this point, like Mike said. Once we know, we know. So putting it as warrant and it gets rejected, you still have to fix it.
Putting it in the budget, if the budget fails, we still have to fix it.
Correct.
But if you put it in as a warrant article, you're giving people notice that this is why we're doing this.
Right,
And
but it's
we're
still-
taking this very seriously. What happens after that, we
But you
can't
still have to
control.
fix it, is what we're saying.
Yeah,
So either way, you have to come up with the money, is I guess what I'm saying.
so we're gonna pursue all avenues.
Yep. So I mean, right, again, we don't have to solve these things on the spot for all this stuff, so
Yep.
first thing is we need numbers. So we should put that out to bid, you know, see how many different bids we can get, and then hopefully when we get those next agenda, we talk about what we do next, you know. Maybe it's a lot less expensive than we thought. I may be dreaming, but there's always that possibility.
We'll know when we get numbers, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep. Cool. So we
Good.
will
thank you,
talk
Mike.
about this further.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks,
you.
Mike.
Have a good evening.
Thank you. All right, so moving right along. Okay, so it's Trish's thing, ARPA EOC update.
Okay. So, this will be fairly quick. On a different note, though, with what he was just talking about, I'll tell him, in December, not that we have any bridges in town, but there's a good amount of grant money coming out for bridges. So I'll let him know, besides the culvert. So technology, this is a quick update. Computers, regarding technology, computers, cameras, security update. So we still have one more security company that we have to report on once they send the proposal. We will have it for your next selectman meeting, they're telling me. Also, the ARPA committee has reached out to invite John Guilfoil tonight, and he'll be zooming in, probably shortly, to do with websites, social media. This is a website that I believe Chief Jewett is already doing. The fire chief wants to do this. He specializes in municipalities, does a really good job, and it has another piece to it in that he deals with social media and can actually write articles for our department. So if, say, Conservation contacts him and says, you know, hey, we're gonna do a Bush Farm work day, here's the particulars, here's the bullets, he'll actually write the article and post it. We're looking at it as a community outreach, not really a public relations. I hate to call it that. Unfortunately, that's his name of his business, but it would be an easy fix to get positive information out there instead of right now what we read is in the newspaper or, heaven forbid, Facebook, because people don't pick up the phone and call us. So I just want you to know he will be logging in and he can explain it. It's short money. The filters for the town hall and the library have been ordered. We will have to order a couple more, I think, and I'll have to talk to Diane. I think we may need one for the cable room, although nobody goes in there with him. You and I can talk about that. And I've talked to Tina, the welfare gal, and she doesn't think that she should have one in here. I'm gonna toss that out to you guys. You can decide if you think she should have one. For the most part, she said people meet her outside. So just keep that in mind when we come back to this. And then we're gonna have to order a larger one for this room. Unless what we're getting for information on the UV lighting would work for this large room. We're checking into the UV lights for the police department, the Butler building, and an air filter exchange for the fire department. That may need less of a fix because it's a newer building. Recreation, just to continue to update you, we are going to be doing some Graney Park improvements, expanding the parking lot. Conservation has already walked the property a while ago. We'll do it again. We're going to flag it for trimming and cutting. The road agent actually went there today, and we had a very long conversation because we wanted to see after the rain where was it draining to so that we don't interfere in wetlands. So we'll keep you informed with that. The large printer that you okayed has been ordered. Hopefully, we're gonna have space. I don't know, we're going through what you're going through here in the conservation room, but we will try to, we think we know how we can make room for that printer. And that way, ZBA will have access, planning board, recreation, conservation, and anyone from town hall will have access if they need to do, you know, the big Mylars or whatever. We'll never be doing anything big, but at least it's there. This is a huge improvement for the town, and the U.S. Treasury is considering this forward thinking. So we got a coup for this one. Lastly, I just want to discuss a little bit about ARPA money and what it can be used for. I had an extensive conversation with one of our legal attorneys along with the U.S. Treasury. So I'm just reiterating what you already know, but for people in TV land. So the money can be used, we had to pick a category when we went for this grant. And the category that we chose is called 6.1, which stands for government services. So what they're telling me, and I wrote down everything she said when she was talking to me, this can be used for any normal government services, but especially for police, fire, EMS. That's an approved area of use, which includes equipment, vehicles needed for first responders. It can be used for parks that need repair due to overuse. Any technology, she said, that's an upgrade to what we have, or again, forward thinking, and filtration system. She did say, and you gotta love this is typical government. I hope nobody online works for the government because I'm gonna burn you. This is even worse, an attorney answer. Here's what she said, and my brother's an attorney, so Matt understands. The money may or may not be used for a new plan or a new project. And I'm like, please give me help with that one. She said, well, if it's a new project, it has to be effective and efficient. And if we got picked out of the hat for an audit, the audit would want to know whether this new project was in our CIP plan. So I know, I think Charlie's brought it up, Joe's brought it up, and he's not here, but I'm supposed to bring it up again for him. But about the CIP, it looks like if we think we need a larger project, they're saying it not only should be in the CIP, but it should possibly be considered as a capital improvement, and there's certain processes that we have to go through if it's a capital improvement. She said, this money should not be spent willy-nilly, just for the heck of it. Let's just get something. So she was pretty serious with that. So I wanted to toss this out to you and TV land. So she said, if it's a big ticket item, like solar panels, which we have no idea yet how much the solar panels are going to be. We're waiting for them to give us the actual price. But that's not in our CIP, I don't think. But if it's a large ticket item, they might challenge that. Security cameras wouldn't be challenged because that's an upgrade to technology, but I'm tossing out, do you want to spend $97,000 to $105,000 on security cameras, or do we tweak that in the locations and maybe not get everything we need? I mean, it's not like we're in a big city where we've got a lot of crime happening around us. So I'm tossing that out so that you can kind of digest it and see what you think.
A quick question. So what about that grant money that's out there for those cameras?
So, what we're using is ARPA money. There is other money, yes.
That's what I'm saying. So
Yes.
rather than have to use the ARPA money for
And
it, can't
that's
we
a
try
great
to get
point.
that grant to
Le-
pay for that?
Let me check into that and the deadlines on that. I will look
Yeah.
that up for you, Robert. Thank you. Okay. So think about all that as we start looking at totals. I sent you that spreadsheet. Understand that we have to have everything labeled or targeted to spend by December 31st of 2024, but we have till December 31st of 2026 to spend it. So it's not like we have to rush in and do this quickly, so think about it. There might be something else that's going to come along. Our ARPA committee has actually talked about, should we come up with a committee that, or a capital improvement for a new building? I know Mary Jo has a wish list. She'd love a new building. I think we'd all love a new town hall, clearly, as our files are coming out here now. But those are some of the things that we can talk about and maybe look for grants for, but also figure out where do we really want to spend this money. Let's not just blow it. We won't blow it, but
By the way, just so people on TV know, the files are there because they're staged for destruction. The files are not going to live there.
Right.
So just so.
sorry, I should have said that. Yes,
Right.
yes. We're going to have a big bonfire. No, we're not, Fire Chief. No.
No.
Okay, and my last little piece, just the EOC update. COVID has not gone away. Since I last spoke to you, only 14 days ago, we have 13 new cases in Newton. I can't violate HIPAA, but I can tell you we have multiple employees that have now tested COVID. And if you were near any one of these, I've already called you. If you didn't hear from me, you're safe. But just keeping that in mind, we reminded our maintenance guy, we need to keep this wastebasket here. The wipes need to be here. If people are going to hold on to the podium, they should wipe it down before they touch it. So just know that it's not gone away. And so far, Newton has 1,187 cases, cumulative cases. And I think that's it.
John's
So,
here. John is here.
Okay. Yes, Mike?
I would like a note just so I don't have to go to work and just so you could say that I did test positive.
No problem. I'll
Good.
send you an email.
I like that.
Okay.
But what else? So I'm also hearing around town that there's something else going around and kids are staying out of school, parents, something.
Yes.
something unhealthy, but it is not risen to COVID levels.
Right. It is a virus. I'm told it's like the viruses that kind of put cruise ships, made them go all out of whack. It's a stomach virus. There's throwing, there's diarrhea, and it is wiping out a lot of areas.
Okay.
So you're right. As they update us, we get our legal update. I get it Thursday at noon. If there's anything on that, I'll let you all know.
Okay, thank
And
you.
there was one other one that I just saw on our MUR, that a lot of the kids in school are getting sick due to the fact that they weren't in school for a couple of years. So now, because everybody's getting together, what they're actually getting is just a common cold, but because they haven't had it, because they've been in isolation,
Sure.
it's hitting them a lot harder than it normally would, just being a
Sure.
regular cold.
Kinda like
because-
their immune
right,
system
be-
isn't-
Yes, because, and they're being hospitalized.
Yep.
Filling up a lot of beds,
Yeah, it is.
younger kids.
But I'll keep you posted with all of that. And if you've no more questions, I'll introduce John. I think
So,
he's on Zoom.
real quick,
Yes.
we talked about the body cameras, and you mentioned about the funds that are out there for the bridges and stuff.
Yes.
Part of that, I might be mistaken, but I don't think I am, those grants aren't to pay 100% of whatever the job you're doing.
Right.
Those come with
It's a
the
ma-
stipulant that we as the town, if we got the grant, we would have to contribute like 20% to the cost of said project, and then that grant would pay the rest of it. So that would be, and I believe the culverts, they are considering as part of the bridge money, because it is bridging over the culvert, that they put in the writing. And it's the same thing for the body
Right.
cameras for the police, that the town would have to kick in the 20% and the grant would pay 80%. But
Right.
it's something looking into, because then we could see if maybe we could use 20% of the ARPA money.
Well, actually, it's a good point, but Mike Pavero and I spoke, and Chief Jewett and I spoke, and they have, if this gets approved, he has enough money where he can pull from to do his match if we have to. Yes,
To
Mike?
match it, but then there's ongoing maintenance that's gonna have to be budgeted.
True.
And then there's a huge storage portion of that.
Yes.
So we need
Yes.
to, the full cost, to understand that.
And maybe this is not the correct time, but when you were talking to Mike, and in everything, all these other things, I mean, everybody is in rough shape right now. We're all in the same boat. And I know the town administrator and I have talked a little bit about this. If it became, and let's use that, the country pond, the guardrails or whatever, and that's a liability, now we know about it. If we had to write a hardship letter so that we could take that money out of the general fund and use it, it is something that you should put in your back burner and know that it can be done. I've done it for Mike, for the salt shed. It'd have to be, because it's a life safety issue and a liability, it would probably qualify as a hardship. I don't know. Then again, if it's only 25 grand, would they say, hey, that's a drop in the bucket, you can come up with that somewhere? So I don't know. Okay, John, I think you are online, and John Guilfoil from Guilfoil Public Relations Company, and he's going to give you a little overview of the website, what he does, the social media, and how this could be kind of a community outreach.
Everyone hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Excellent. All right, thank you. Good evening, everyone. I would have certainly been up there. I'm actually, I'm a Groveland resident. I would have been happy to come down there tonight, but I was responsible for my 7-year-old's play date, which if you are responsible for play dates, you know how much those take a priority over everything for a 7-year-old. So here I am on Zoom. So thank you for accommodating me. My name is John Guilfoil. I am the owner and operator of a full-service communications consultancy and public relations firm that has the unique specialization of working almost exclusively with municipal government. We work with police, fire, public schools, public health, libraries, public works, water departments, and of course whole municipal governments, municipal managers, etc. We've been talking to the town of Newton for some time now, and I've actually seen both your police and fire chiefs at multiple events and incidents, the good things and the bad things. I've been to probably a dozen fires in our area, unfortunately, as a public information officer since the summertime, and I've seen your fire chief a number of times there because of the extensive mutual aid system that we have at the Seacoast level and up here in the county. What we've been talking about is a way to streamline and improve, augment, and increase the amount of civic engagement the town of Newton has with its constituents by taking the principles of a public relations effort, which is essentially what the big cities do, and applying our method, our modology, which is to make it both affordable and scalable to a town. We do the same exact work for Groveland, for West Newbury, Newburyport, and a number of other cities and towns, large and small, throughout actually 11 states that we're active in right now. I am a former deputy press secretary to Mayor Menino in Boston. I was there for the end of his historic 21-year run as mayor. It was one of the first public information officers activated during the Boston Marathon bombings. I was actually standing between the bombs when they went off, and went to work after that, and then helped oversee communications through the first transition of mayors and generation in Boston. Prior to that, I was a Boston Globe reporter, 6 years as a correspondent and a staff reporter, and mostly covered police and fire and town government. What I saw in both of those roles was a number of cities and towns, Boston certainly with its millions of dollars it spends on communications consultants and full-time communications directors for every department every year. And the bigger agencies like the state police, the district attorneys, the AG's offices that always seem to have a handle on their communications, the things they were doing, again, good and bad, because they had professional communicators advising them. And I sat down after Mayor Walsh came in and laid off pretty much everyone that wasn't a union employee, which included me, in City Hall. I sat down and made a business model and said, I think that we can do what Boston has, what the state police have, what your Cambridges and your Concords have on the micro level, on the town level. And today we do this work for about 350 organizations, again, around the country at this point. What we're proposing for the town of Newton is to essentially develop 3 new websites for the town. A new town website that would be on the same inspiration and vein as the new town of Groveland website and the town of Nahant website, which is one of our popular and functional designs right now, that does what we believe municipal websites should do now, which is put out the news, the events, the happenings, what's going on now first, front and center. The municipal websites over the last 25 years have been slowly evolving from the blue pages, our phone numbers, our names, our email addresses, our an events calendar, and our legally required postings. And they're evolving to what I really think they need to be, which is a news magazine, a portal for people to go and find out what's happening, what's coming up, what their government's doing, what businesses in town are doing, what the arts community is doing, what's happening and what's going to happen in our town. But anybody, any tech company can say, here's your website. What separates an organization like us, like JGPR, is that we have 15 employees and we only do this work for government, and we do not say, here are the keys, good luck, it's all yours. You can have full access to your website, do whatever you want administratively with it, but when you have an organization, an agency backing you up the way the larger cities and towns do, we help you write the content. We teach you how to publish the content. We can copy edit. We can come and take pictures. We can sort of be an all-encompassing conduit to help you use your website and your social media and your email platforms and your direct mailings, and help you to write more efficient, better content and produce visual content, including video content, that will be more effective in reaching an audience, whether you're in a town of 2,000, 8,000, or 1 million. We think the method applies. So in addition to a town website, we are also seeking to produce a police website and a fire website for your town, so that your emergency departments, which would include EMA, by the way, would have a similarly branded portal that would all be under a consistent town design. So they all would look like Town of Newton websites. It wouldn't just be 3 freelance websites out there under one umbrella. But giving the police and fire, 2 news-generating organizations, their own place to put their forms and their permits and their news and their history and all of the different resources that those organizations offer. We offer this because the town, the police, the fire, but also the health department, the select board, the town administrator's office, the clerk, they all have a vested interest in reaching a constituent base. The difference in 2022 and beyond is increasingly you have to produce that content yourself. We actually have clients that pay us to sit and cover school committee or school board meetings because they haven't seen a newspaper reporter in 10 years and they want a record of what's going on. If you don't produce your own content, you're relying on the media to come out and cover you. And increasingly, that happens when something goes wrong. If there's a fire, or somebody dies, or there's a scandal, and they will come out if they're aware of the good things happening, which we help with. But we also have to produce a lot of your content with you, or teach you how to produce your content. So we feel like a modern design website in the WordPress framework that has all of the compatibilities, that automatically broadcasts all of your news to all of your social media accounts, and automatically emails your content out to your constituents is the most effective way to reach an audience. And I'll tell you how. When you have a website that's properly configured and that's modern, you can have something as simple as a recap of this meeting. And you have your cable station, which is a very useful resource. When you also post, whether it's a video or a recap or both, or some sort of write-up on your website, the website software can put it at one time on every Twitter account that the town has access to, every Facebook account and page, every LinkedIn account, every Instagram account, every local Town of Newton or local Facebook group, which is where they're getting their news anyway. Living in Groveland, I know that firsthand. There's no newspaper covering Groveland. We have the Town Crier and the Town News and the Town Moms and Dads. So we're getting those Facebook groups, and it will automatically email to everybody that opts in to receive updates from the town. So you can post something one time in a couple of minutes and have it hit 24 channels that is going to catch people where they are. We also are all of our employees are trained by FEMA to be public information officers. So it's not just let's go get publicity for publicity's sake. It's purpose driven. What we do for our clients is tell their stories and say what government does on behalf of its people. And then when there is a major incident or a fire or a crime, the expectation from the public is, well, I hear from the town, so I know they're going to have something. So that press release that goes out, whether there's a public health issue or a flu shot clinic or a fatal fire, God forbid, people are going to expect they're going to hear from the town of Newton because you're going to establish or reinforce, I should say, that track record with your town. We also believe in the long run that this model is more cost effective for cities and towns because while it is more expensive than just buying a website one time, it is a lot less expensive than hiring even a part-time benefits eligible employee to do or help you do this level of work. With our company, if they're, you'll have access to an employee 24 hours a day for website fixes or problems or for news. And if there is a critical incident in Newton, we have 15 people that can come to Newton at a moment's notice to help with any media onslaughts or crisis work that's needed. We hope, again, that you never need that, but you'll always have a person or a 24-hour operation. It also ensures that your police and fire websites are always up to date. That could be as simple as if a tree falls and a main road is closed for 2 hours, that the website has an update in the first 5 minutes, not the day after. So that people who might be driving through town or driving around town are aware, and they will then expect that level of professionalism and communication from the town, fire, the police, whomever, because that's the track record we hope to establish with our clients, and we have a record of establishing that. We've been nationally awarded for this work by the big corporate public relations trade groups. They recognize that this is a novel way to take a traditionally corporate or large government communications model and apply it successfully to municipal government. And again, as a person who lives a stone's throw from Newton, I would love the opportunity, just on a personal level, to show, based on a number of friends and people I know in town, what our organization can do, what we've done for the cities that are much bigger than Newton and the towns that are similarly sized or even smaller than Newton. And I'd be happy to take any questions or any clarifying points you would offer me at this time.
What other New Hampshire municipalities in Rockingham County are you currently under contract with?
So we are currently under contract with the Salem Police Department. We are with the Hampton Schools, and I would say probably 2 or 3 other SAUs in the county. I don't have them off the top of my head. We do not have another whole town right now in Rockingham County, though we have done work in the past for the county attorney's office, and we've done consulting work probably for 3 or 4 towns in the county over the years. We also, further north, had a long-term project with Rochester that resulted in them being named a city on the rise by New Hampshire Magazine toward the end of our run with them. So we are familiar with New Hampshire. And in terms of full town government, we were more involved, I think, over the border. We have Groveland and Methuen and Newburyport, West Newbury, that we're currently working more directly with, Merrimack, et cetera.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
Not at this time.
No? Trish, anything?
I don't know if it's appropriate for me to say prices, so what I thought I would do is I'll email you, or do you want me to say them?
You can say them.
Okay, so this is ballpark, and John, if I say something, strike me down here. But it's roughly $17,500 to develop the websites, come and take all the photos of the town, which some he already has, because again, he has been talking with Chief Jewett and Chief Alcadino. And then and he can get that ready fairly quickly, and then after that, it's roughly $1,000 a month. So what the ARPA committee talked about is the upfront 18 and then the 12,000 for next year. So we'd pay that. And then after that would give us a year to remind people to put in their budgets, depending on where the money's going to come from. If we have to have a separate line item to create, or is every department that is going to be participating and maybe want articles written is going to be $200 or $300 a month. I don't know. It probably wouldn't be that much, but at any rate, that's the rough ballpark prices. Is that about it, John?
Yeah. So the upfront cost, the $17,500, is really, you're getting your 3 websites for that, including the whole town website, which is certainly the biggest project there. That is that's a soup to nuts price. You're not paying $10 here, $50 here. That is the price without any weird hidden fees or subscriptions or software to buy there. We use the open source software that's really well supported. It powers about 1/3 of the internet right now. So you're getting 3 websites for that price, and then for that $1,000 a month, you're not just getting us doing all the IT work, which we are doing, but you're getting our access 24 hours a day, up to 12 pieces of content written on behalf of the town. So essentially, something written over half of the business days of the month by us, and then training you on how to kind of fill in the gaps and produce your own content. And also, again, the guarantee that if there is an incident overnight, that we have a person on call 24 hours a day. I think that's one of the things that really has separated us over the years, that if there is an incident overnight, it could be a school closure, a water pipe burst, whatever it is, we respond at all hours of the day and night to get content out. So what we offer there for that $1,000 is less than the cost of hiring a part-timer, but really more of a full-time suite. The philosophy of the company is that the town of Newton does not have 40 hours worth of work for us to do, and you never will. And you also don't have the budget for a 40-hour-a-week public information officer. But when you hire our company, you get a 24/7 public information officer, but you use it when you need it, and you get all that content written during the rest of the month.
The other thing, and I'm going to pick on you, Diane, for a second. So as I violate fair housing and remind you that I'm a blonde senior, because I forget exactly the question that you asked, but it was something about submitting so many things, and you thought we would overexceed those 12. Were you talking about like planning board minutes and?
Yeah, at the original meeting that we had, I was concerned about the number of postings that we would get free, but then you told me that we could post our own meetings and agendas and stuff like that. That would not be counted towards the 1,000, towards your limit. There is a
Correct,
limit
yeah,
as to what they will post.
Correct, yeah, we offer, training sessions for anybody in the town that wants to learn how to use the website, unlimited accounts. And there are web vendors who will, charge you like for X amount of pages, and we don't do any of that. Your website's going to have hundreds and maybe even eventually thousands of pages and blog posts, and your town will produce the majority of that. There's no limits on how much you can scale the website up. It's all about the amount of effort that department heads and employees want to put into making the website grow.
So John, quick question. The $1,000 per month, does that cover all 3 websites and all the postings, or is that per website?
That covers all 3. That covers the town of
Okay.
Newton. That covers every aspect of Newton government except your SAU. Schools are their own monster.
Definitely.
And they tend to have more work for us than most of our towns.
Okay. Thank you,
Mark,
John.
did you have something?
Yes,
Oh.
I'm sorry, through you, Mr. Chairman, to the board. John, Mark Andrews here. What would be, is it unlimited with respect to, because I'm intrigued by the response for, to have a PIO or somebody in place when there's a natural disaster of some sort, hurricane, something that happens that really would help us. And I also believe, at least from how I look at this, is it's really community service. Is that a fair way to characterize it?
Yes, a good public information officer is not someone who's just out to make the town look good at all costs. It's someone who believes, essentially in what our brand of PR is, that the more good that you do and the more you communicate in general with the town, the more legitimately, the better you are perceived by the town. There's no like massaging or spin that goes into that. So it really is a community service, because if you had, let's say, a large nor'easter or major blizzard, the necessity to communicate maybe on an hourly basis with your town at peak is extremely important, and that's what a professional communicator or what a PR person does on behalf of a client. The consulting is unlimited during the business day. So if you're working with us during the business day and you have to call us 10 times, you don't get bills for any of that. There's no retainers. There's no, we're not like an accountant. No disrespect to accountants or lawyers. You're not getting billed for calls. The only time any of our clients may incur additional costs is if we have to respond in person at night, a weekend, or a holiday. And we typically don't charge for things that we can resolve in an hour or two. If you had a 9-alarm fire and it went for 18 hours, you would likely, if we were there for 10 hours, you likely would encounter a bill for some of those hours, but we're talking about a once in a decade type of situation, perhaps.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All set?
I think so. Thank you for
Thank you, John.
joining us tonight.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me,
good
and
evening.
I'm available if anybody has any questions offline.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
And Trish, before, you don't have to come back, it's just, but speaking of the website and ARPA, I'm looking on our webpage with meeting minutes and agendas. Can we add ARPA to the minutes and agendas here? Because it's not current. Cool, thank you. All right, moving right along.
And something of what Trish said, I noticed I was looking in the book, because some of the budgets already have advertising, subscriptions, and dues. So I would imagine that the different departments that would be using this, if we were to get it, would be able to just add that money that they would need to put into those budgets and be able to draw it off of those line items without having to create new ones.
As long as it's 3 departments, though. it would only be 3 departments: police, fire, health, right? Or, well, selectmen.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think when the ARPA committee talked about it, what we thought was, you know, like conservation, if conservation may want to publicize things, recreation definitely might
Well,
want to.
that's what I was thinking.
Transfer station when they have a hazardous waste. So it might be, we got a year to work on budgets, but we might have to sit down, and I talked to Kim about it as well, and tweak. So are we gonna do a little line item? Mary Jo might want stuff about elections, and then decide, the ones that are using it way more, maybe they'll pay in a little bit more, but we could create a spot for it. And I think it can be easily done once we sit down.
Right.
Okay, thank
But I
you.
was thinking those departments too would probably want to be able to use it.
Right.
Yeah.
Or even highway when he's got road closures, you
Right.
know? Okay, thank you.
Great,
Thank you, Trish.
So moving right along to D, New Hampshire paid family medical leave optional coverage.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, if I might.
Is that you, Mark? Go ahead.
Yes, thank you. Through you to the board and the listening audience. So I put this together with the help of Kim and Diane's assistance relative to, this was an act of the governor and legislature and governor's council relative to a concept of paid family and medical leave. Already on the books was something called the Federal Family and Medical Leave Act, which allows individuals to either take care of loved ones at home or take care of themselves over time, up to 12 weeks. And so this is an optional program that just came into effect this past June that allows for the voluntary optional participation by all employers in the state of New Hampshire, including municipal governments. And I just wanted to bring this, no action is needed this evening, except to just walk through. I put 4 articles together. But basically, in our research, we looked at the governor's office hired MetLife to handle this for the next 5 years. The intent would be to have some level of understanding to participate in the program. The way I phrased it was in my memo to the board was the program may have an effective way to maintain a healthy workforce coupled with keeping our employees in town service. So one of the things I'm hedging against, and I'm a bit worried about, if we don't take an action or move forward with something here, the surrounding towns would, and it could offer a better benefit package to some of the important key municipal employees here in town.
Right.
So it's coming up. I did speak with folks at the MetLife and also with the Department of Insurance. So it's for a worker's own serious health. It's for a family member, a direct family member, if they have to become a worker, help with regards to taking care of somebody at home with a serious health condition. It's also it plays a key role in making sure that the continuity of government moves forward without having things stop short. And in essence, to sum up, what it is an insurance policy that we would take out with MetLife based on the number of employees that we have. They would do a census and give us a number of options. Do we want to participate up to a certain percent of that individual's pay? It's up to 60% of that individual's pay for the 6 to 12 week period that they would be putting in for. And it would be done on a case-by-case basis. So I just wanted to praise the board of this option, particularly where many of us are still finding ourselves with family responsibilities. Even as we put as much passion and vigor into our jobs working in town government, we still, in many cases, have to spend a fair amount of time either taking care of somebody at home or even yourself if you had to take some time off. So it's a participation program based on voluntary participation, and I wanted to put it on the table for discussion as we get into the more finer details of next year's budget.
So what would be our next steps? Just applying that to our budget discussions? Nothing we have to do at this point to...
I think just embracing the concept, thinking about it. It really, and we have to get some census information together. And MetLife indicated to me that they would be doing this so that we'd get some sense of a premium price, if you will, for the insurance for the next year, based on the number of employees that would participate in the program.
So I guess from a polling the board standpoint, concept-wise, just talking conceptually at this point, are people in favor of pursuing this further?
I am, because like Mark said, if we don't, we're already struggling competing with other towns for some key employees. If we don't, we might not be in contention at all.
Yeah, we're not signing on the dotted line tonight, but Bob's in favor. Mike, are you?
Yeah.
I'm also in favor. Charlie?
I'm up in the air. I got to know what it's going to cost us.
Yeah, absolutely. We're not, just so people understand, we're not signing the check tonight. We're just
Right.
conceptually.
So that we
let's-
explore it
yeah,
more.
Exactly.
Yes.
In other words, tonight is not a definite no. Tonight is a let's get more information. Cool.
So this may segue into what our town administrator was talking about. And you'll remember during COVID, I sat up here after every legal call and the HR people kept saying, watch your policies when you're doing your budgets at that time of year for medical, people out on medical. And now they're saying it again, that, and I'm not gonna say who, but we've got a couple of cases right now in town where the first employee got COVID from the wife and came to work because this person tested negative. And then in work, he ended up eventually becoming positive. But you remember, you're contagious for 72 hours prior to symptoms, so he didn't know it. He had tested negative. And then another employee in the same department got it. And here's what the HR people said. That we should have a policy in place that says if you got COVID at work, we are supposed to pay you. And Primex got involved in these calls and said, if you need help, we can help with this. But the hard thing is, sometimes people say, I don't know where I got it. But when it's a clear indication that they got it from somebody in work, we are supposed to pay. And what came up is, we didn't have a policy because the policy wasn't done when I had requested it. And so this person was told, you're gonna have to use your sick time because it's not coming out of my budget. And it caused a huge, huge altercation. So I'm tossing that out there because it is budget time. And on the HR level, we should be remembering this.
Thank you. And I'd put this out there like this too, is, I've worked in private industry my entire career. When you get on a board like this, the curtain gets pulled back on certain things, and municipal jobs are good jobs. People work hard and stuff like that, but there's a lot of things I think we don't know as the average taxpayer, things we take for granted that we might get at whatever company we work for. It's those life events, right? It's like, oh, you have a baby, well, you get paid time off to be with the baby for the first few months. Well, municipalities, that's not necessarily the case. So it's good that we're going down this road, because I think Mike just said it, right? Or Mark might have said it earlier. If other municipalities do this and we're trying to compete as we are right now to retain people, to get people, then it's going to be an uphill climb. So, but more to come on this.
Yeah, and I'm trying to find quality people right now. I have a staff of 11, which I run. I've had constant 2 vacant seats, revolving seats, but trying to get talented people right now, it's hard. So whatever we need to do to start by looking and bringing ideas to the board, I'm all for it. We've got to find creative ways to retain quality people.
Thank you.
Cool. So what everybody's been waiting for tonight, proposed budgets.
The big budget tickets?
Would anybody be disappointed if I skip down, because I see Pete out there? Could we do
The
Pete?
library is here too.
What's that?
The library trustees are here.
Well, no, I'm talking about Pete's not here for his budget, he's here for the fee schedule. We might be able to get him in and out,
Oh, okay.
if that's cool. Do we want to take a vote on that? How many people are in favor of Pete coming up? All right, okay.
Aye.
Pete, you won. So we're going to skip to G, so Pete doesn't have to stay here much longer. Transfer station review proposed bulk item fee structure increases for residents and non-residents.
Evening, Board. Pete Gagnon, Transfer Station. Yeah, it's been quite a while since we have updated our fee schedule. I think the last time was before 2017, so it's about time. And I talked to Selectman and Town Administrator. The fees for the mattresses are really what is jumping up. The places that these things get shipped to don't want them. They don't have the space. They can't burn them. So it's just getting harder and harder and more expensive to get rid of them. Everything else, just a small increase, mostly. A couple of things we'd never touched, free on items. That's really it.
Cool, so that word or phrase we are always using, competitive market price, not that it's the same as other things we've been talking about, but have you looked around at other municipalities? No?
None around here have a transfer station.
Well, that's true, yeah, so.
What's causing the mattress to go up, do you know?
They were going to a landfill.
And that's probably shut in.
They take up too much space. They can't
Okay.
fit them in there. And I guess the burn plants around here don't burn them either.
So, I think the main thing people want to hear is, quite frankly, the people viewing this who live in Newton, are their fees, right? Because we have one schedule for Newton, we have another schedule for non-Newton residents. For people who don't know, they can come with bulk items, they have to pay us. But I don't see, can you summarize what the change would be for Newton residents?
Yeah, basically, we took the mattresses, we don't have them separated in size, it's all one size. That price has gone up $35, $40. The free-on items, like I said, we haven't changed any of that. TVs have gone up $5, so most of them are going to be $10 flat rate, just the big ones that are going to be $20. Building and materials, so this is the bulk items, the chairs, the plastics, that might be following behind the mattresses in price, so that had to get a jump up too. And again, fuel costs, disposal, that's all going up. That's never going to go down, so we got to just keep on top of that.
Okay. All right, anything else for Pete? Anyone?
No.
All right, anybody want to make a motion to accept these two schedules? I think Bob's going to make a motion.
I make a motion, we move to accept the updated residential and non-residential transfer station fees for bulk items as presented.
Anybody want a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mike. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Were you and I? Joe?
I haven't seen the schedule. I mean, not the schedule, the amounts at all.
You don't have a printout of it?
No.
Well, we do have enough to move forward, so do you want to just be a abstain or?
Yeah, I'll
okay.
stay as an abstain.
Get that,
for right
Diane?
now.
So we have 3 and 1 abstain. So we're moving right along. So
Thank you, Board.
I'd
Thank
just like
you.
to thank Pete for keeping up on his job and thank Diane for helping Pete to implement this so that it got taken care of quickly.
Thank you, Pete.
Good work.
Awesome. All right, so on to the budgets, and we do see the library here first, right? So perhaps we do the library folks first, since they've hung in there.
Thank you.
Where
All right. Can you kind of summarize for
Sure,
us what?
I will. Hi there, Kathy Meserve, Gale Library trustee. You have a copy of our proposed budget. The total amount of our budget proposal for next year is $143,378. Most of it, as you can see, is in the salary line, the very first line. That's $112,903. So out of $143,000, $112,000 of it is salaries. Over the last year, we've had some staff changes at the library. Our library director retired after 20 years of service just in the last year. So we had to find a new library director. For a few months, we didn't have anybody, but we just recently hired a new library director, Michelle Baker. We're very happy about that. She's been with us now for about 6 weeks. We had a few other staff people either resign or change their hours, so we're still working on that. Our current staff, we have one full-time person, that's the director, and the rest of our staff is all part-time. If you have any questions, I'll try to answer them.
Cleaning, custodial work, what's your current, because I know in past years you were doing your own thing. What's
Right,
your current-
and since, I think it's Irving,
Irving, yes.
he cleans, and that's a wonderful arrangement from our point of view. That was under, I forget if it was under custodial maybe, and that number has slowly been coming down.
Okay.
I think that was because it came down even for 2022 was 800, and for 2023 we're taking it down to 500. Because we would really like to continue being part of that arrangement with Irving, if we could do that.
So just a
We're
comment
looking-
on that?
Yeah.
I believe right now we're paying to have the town hall and the library cleaned by ARPA funds,
Right.
so, correct?
Yeah, I don't know how much longer that will go on, but yeah.
Yep. So, just so you know.
Go ahead, Mike.
So I was going to ask, does that mean that this line item needs to be increased to absorb the cost that's being taken care of by ARPA?
That would probably be a bookkeeper question.
Okay. So I would suggest
Yeah,
getting with the bookkeeper to get what I don't want to have happen is all of a sudden this fund, the ARPA money goes away and you're
yeah.
now in deficit. So
Yeah, we weren't aware of that, so,
Yep.
yeah, I will definitely speak with Kim about that, because we'd have to,
So what we need to find out is from the ARPA committee is how long they're going to pay for the cleaning.
Yep.
Does the ARPA committee, the ARPA committee does have a response.
Yes, we're somewhat concerned. This shouldn't, the cleaning is the ARPA funds are supposed to be used for chemical bio cleaning, not, sweeping the floor and that kind of stuff. So we are concerned if we get an audit that just general cleaning, they're gonna, stick it to us. So we probably will, by the end of this year, and the committee will talk about it next week, but you may just see it happening till the end of this year. And then it's only when we're sanitizing for viruses, not for cleaning. Selectman Mike?
I know this is going to sound funny, but I have 3 kids.
Okay.
And I love them, trust me.
That's because we're on cable.
There's a but there, though.
He just said on cable, he wanted to get it
Yeah.
officially.
Yeah, right.
But at young ages, and I've been in that library with them, especially the younger one, more recently, they're kids. So chemically cleaning would be like everything they've touched.
And it's like impossible,
So
right?
we can't extend that for the library based on, it's designed for the kids, and we do
Right,
sneezing into we
Yep.
teach it, doesn't mean it happens.
yep.
It's all over that library.
Now, we do have foggers, but I'm going to tell you, and Mary Jo knows, and Chief El Cadino knows, those foggers, when it's like the dew mist coming in and everything, you got to hide everything or it gets wet.
Yes.
So a fogger could be used like maybe on weekends, keeping in mind that the virus, at least the COVID virus, I'm not speaking to anything else right now, but the COVID virus, it stays on paper products for up to 24 hours, and it stays on shiny surfaces like toilets and doorknobs and things like that for 72 hours. So if there was a way to arrange maybe a fogging on a weekend maybe, and then midweek, it might cover that 72-hour cycle. But again, the ARPA money, you can see from the spreadsheet, it's going away. So Selectman Mike is right. We've got to continue to budget for cleaning.
So let me ask this. From what I saw, the ultraviolet light, like they do on the planes,
Yep.
would it be feasible and maybe possible that just for the library, that we could get, we got what, 2 floors in the library?
Yes.
We could get 2 robotics so that at night when they're leaving, they could put those on, and then at night the robots could just roam around with the ultraviolet lights, and that would be disinfecting the library overnight, and then it would be ready for the next day.
That's possible, and some of the ones that we're looking into, whoops, sorry. See, she was going to tell me, talk. Some of the ones that we're looking into also are motion, so that you could actually leave it on all the time, and then when people are moving around in the library, it's going to sanitize whoever it is that's moving around. But we're checking on all those prices, and that's an absolutely good idea, really.
Yep.
Yep. Okay, thanks.
I appreciate all those good ideas, but we're still going to have kids and adults tracking in dirt on the carpet, dirty bathrooms, fingerprints on the tables.
Yeah, I was just trying to get your money to help offset some of that.
I would love that.
Yeah.
But we'll have to be aware of that.
Okay, my only suggestion is before we okay anything, get those funds so that you're not shortchanging yourself.
Yeah,
That's the
okay.
only thing.
Thank you.
I just think it's great we're talking about robots with laser beams.
Yeah, I know.
Pretty cool. I haven't done that yet in this board. Any questions on this one? As we said, this will be the public service announcement we do in every budget meeting, where we're voting to accept the draft. In the whole draft, we're not voting to accept it all tonight. There are 2 things at play: once we roll up the budgets all together, and also once we've spent for the year, because we're still kind of in the middle of the year. So things change as we go through there.
Right, so you can always come back and adjust that, but I'll make a motion that we move to accept the proposed 2023 budget for the library for inclusion in the proposed 2023 town operating budget.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, now we're back at the top. So building department. And I thought I saw, he's on Zoom, but I think we're level funded anyway. Bob, did you want to say anything? Building department, Bob?
No, I'm all set. Just want to be on just in case anybody had any questions.
Cool.
Where are we?
So we are level funded as just the same as last year. Any questions?
There we go. No questions?
All right, anybody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we move to accept proposed budget for 2023 for the building department for inclusion in the proposed 2023 town operating budget.
Second.
Seconded by Charlie. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Bob. All right. Now we're on to elections, registrations, and vital statistics. So I think MJ is up there somewhere.
I saw her somewhere up there.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Hey, Mary Jo.
Hello. Hello. Well, you have in front of you my proposed budget, elections, registration, and vital statistics, otherwise known as the town clerk's budget. I've increased it 0.9%, and that is mostly salary increases and training increases, but I've also decreased in other spots. For those new gentlemen sitting there, most of my budget is I have to approximately guess what I'm going to spend next year. It's money in and then it's money out. Whatever I take in goes out. So I try to get, the best handle I can on it. If I think one year I'm a little bit too high on things, I'll lower it down a little bit. Just a little bit, just in case. But yep, that's what that is. And if you have any questions, I'm right here.
Any questions for Mary Jo at this stage? I mean, it's worth asking the question. I'm sure I've asked you before, but we're coming out of a year in which this was a 4-election year, right? 2022?
This was 3. This was
Three.
a 3 election.
So next year will be a 1.
A 1.
Yeah.
So, but this, okay, going on that note, I'm going to give a little forewarning. Next year's budget for my election, especially the AccuVote, that's going to be 4 elections in 2024.
Right.
And the coding of those cards is extremely expensive. I actually underestimated this year because I forgot that we now have 2 machines, 4 cards, and the cost of coding them, I guess, really went up. So not next year, but the year after. Next year we only have 1 election, so I'm just going to leave that money right there.
Good.
Mary Jo, how come you went down 400 on postage?
Because I'm finding I'm not using it, and I'm not using as much as I thought I would need.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, that I'm looking at, I am,
But what if you got a lot of people requesting absentee ballots? You're going to have an expense.
I would actually, if it went over that, it would hit my election line item budget for supplies.
Okay.
That postage is figured in. I mean, the postage that I used in past elections and in COVID, it really didn't do much damage to the postage budget.
Great.
And I've also started sending my work. I send my work up to the state weekly, and that's a flat rate, priority, overnight, whatever. I pay for that out of my own pocket.
Okay. Any questions, any interest in any motions?
I will make a motion that we move to accept the proposed 2023 budget for elections, registration, and vitals for inclusion in the 2023 town operating budget.
Second.
Seconded by Charlie. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Mary Jo, have you seen the tax collector tonight? Is she?
Hold on a second, I'll go get her. Hey.
Thank you. All right.
They are 2 different personalities.
Yeah. That's what I hear.
You have before you my proposed tax collector budget, which has gone up 1.9%, which is really weird. It's went up $550. Again, training and travel, and then but down in my fees, which my fees, like I said, I got to figure out what I think I'm going to bring in fees. I didn't get that many fees this year, so I'm going to lower that a little bit for next year. Any questions?
Any further questions on this one? Anybody One,
I'll make a
two,
motion that we move to accept proposed 2023 budget for the tax collector in inclusion for the proposed 2023 town operating budget.
Second.
Seconded by Charlie. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, Mary Jo, you're off the hook for this evening.
Thank you, Mary Jo.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Jo.
See you later. Bye-bye. Good night.
All right, we've already done the library, so a health officer.
That's level funded as well.
Okay, let me just take a peek at that. So the people should know this is a huge one.
I don't think we'll get through this
It's
tonight.
like, it's $200 because most of this is fees, right? So we're basically providing office supplies, and that's about it. And I think one year we even cut this down a little bit. And we probably spent more time talking about cutting it down than we actually cut it down by, so.
So I'm going to make a motion that we move to accept proposed 2023 budget for the health officer for inclusion in the proposed 2023 town operating budget.
Second.
Seconded by Charlie. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, now, my favorite one, other. So this is legal street lighting, pest control, West Nile.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, if I might,
Yep.
through you, to the board. We leveled legal. We had to move up street lighting to reflect, back in August, we agreed to participate with the Rockingham County Planning Commission. And we're still studying that, but I think a good number, I was working with Kim this morning on this, is the number that we have in the line at the moment. I'm going to ask some questions about the contracts that we have entered into, and I'll keep the board posted on that. But the cost of electricity simply is going north.
Exuberant.
Yep. And the second piece, the last piece of the government spending expenditures is the pest control. We got a little bit of an increase regarding general pest control for all of our buildings, and we brought down the West Nile virus treatment a bit because we did a 3-year trend analysis. I know the board talked about that with Kim Hughes, and we came out close to just a smudge over $29,000, so we're asking for $30,000 just to be safe.
We didn't even spray this year, did we? Yeah, I didn't think so.
I don't think so.
Yeah. I keep waiting for that phone call from Trish on my landline, that dragging mosquitoes coming through, and I didn't get it this year. So.
It was a very dry summer, obviously.
Yeah,
but the,
right.
The drought helped us out to some degree.
Yeah.
So I'm going to make a motion, we move to accept proposed 2023 budget for the other general government budget for inclusion in the proposed 2023 town operating budget.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Charlie. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. So that's budgets for tonight. Don't worry, they get longer. These are the easy ones so far. So F, Joint Loss Management Committee Programs and Policy Manual Update.
So basically what this is Bill added a page to the end of it that just shows the Department of Labor websites. So it's just a bunch of links. So that's the only page that was changed. Not changed, but added.
Excellent. Any questions on that? Anybody want to make a motion on that one?
I make a motion that we move to accept the updated Joint Loss Management Committee Program and Policy Manual as presented.
Anybody want to second that?
Second.
Seconded by Charlie. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. So we already did the fees for the transfer station. The next one was an update we sent out for the information technology resource policy. Had sent it out for peer review about 6 weeks ago. Sent it around to all the department heads and the board, and wanted to get the board's approval to publish this new one. It's recommended language from Primex that we,
I'm going to move to accept as written the information technology resource policy as proposed.
Second.
Charlie. Bless you, Mike.
So before you go off that,
Yep.
there was a little footnote there for
Yep.
you on the proposed motion that maybe you want to look at first.
Oh, I don't have the proposed motions open.
In case you want to add the following to the IT resource policy, and to have all applicable employees, elected officials, members of boards, committees, and commissions read and sign that they will abide by this policy.
Yeah, really I was thinking about that, and typically what most companies do is they do a policy acknowledgement every year. So it's not just one policy, but it's, we have, everybody can see it, right? Here's the link. Have you read and understand, acknowledge, sign, move on? And they do it every year. You can call out one specific policy if you've updated it, but I think, separate from this vote we're going to make, I think we should write up a policy acknowledgement form and get it out to all the department heads. I'm sure the police and fire do something already, but, just focused on town. What's everybody think?
I think that's a good idea to refresh everybody's memory.
And I'm sure Primex has some sort of form we can steal from.
Yep.
All right, so we had a motion, we had a second, we had our discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, moving right along, I think we're at the, Trish is coming up.
Other business.
We're at the Joe Simone, other business. I don't think he's listening.
The Emmy Award for greatest impersonation.
So he said, I'm on vacation, but when they get to other business, I want you to go up and pretend you're me and ask about the CIP program. So he didn't know if there was an update, if anyone's heard, if we should be getting some invitations, some of us that want to be involved, and now especially that we've found out if there's some major capital improvement that we need, we should slide it in and get it on the CIP before somebody, while we still have a chance to use the money, at least we can say it's on the CIP. So thank you very much.
Joe, you're looking exceptionally well this evening.
Whatever you're doing, Joe, keep doing it. So Bob, do you have any sort of an update?
So I'm going to turn it over to Mark, because again, Mark's been doing a wonderful job getting in touch with all the key players in this and moving it forward. So we are making progress. Mark?
Surely, through you, Mr. Chairman, to the board, and to the alternate Joe, I guess, as we'll call that, right? We are coming up with, and by the way, they brought this up at the budget seminar that we went to in Manchester, that it needs to be a 6-year plan. I'll be working with all the departments to get their capital needs on that plan. I went back and did some research some years ago. We had a certain threshold. We might want to look at moving that threshold up because of the fact that some of the items could fit into the operating budget. So it's really a work in progress. And before Joe left for his little trip, or whatever you want to call it, I did explain to him that's where we were at. And we're also working with the planning board through Bob to make sure that they're in tune because of the participation that they have offered and been helping with for some time now. So that's where things stand.
Great, moving right along.
So we have other business that didn't make it to the agenda.
Okay.
So as you know, the ramp in the back there needs repair. So Mark and I, and both Marks, Mark A and Mark B, and myself, have tried several people to get quotes. We were able to get 2 quotes out of all that. We've had people come, they've looked at it, but never returned and gave us a quote. So it's getting later and later, we'd like to move on something here to get this fixed. So the recommendation that Mark and I were going to approach you with is to set an amount that not to exceed and to have it come out of the town buildings capital fund. The amount we were thinking about was it 25,000?
That should do it.
Yeah, 25,000, not to exceed 25,000.
Wow.
Well, we don't know what, you know.
Yeah.
It's wood, so I don't know, the ledger board on that may need to be replaced. We
Right,
don't know what
once
we're
you
gonna
start
get
pulling
into.
it apart, you could end up with a can of worms.
Exactly, and it, you know, it has to be fixed.
Okay.
So moved.
I
Do you
can't do
Think
that. It's not on there because
I'd be doing that all night if you could do that.
it's not on there because we didn't, it
Oh,
didn't
okay.
make the agenda.
So I will make a motion to direct the BOS secretary and the town administrator to contract a company to fix the handicap entrance to town hall, and to do so for a fee not to exceed $25,000. Period. Does that work?
Second.
And the funds to come from the town
sorry.
buildings capital reserve.
Yeah, if you could add that to the
Okay.
end.
Yeah,
Charlie
seconded it.
Still a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Excellent.
Thank you.
I might have a couple names for you.
Okay.
If, no,
Everybody says
like, I'm gonna reach out if they have, and say, literally, if you can get a quote, and would you get back to us? Can you do it? Like, can you look at it, give us an actual quote, and do it? If they say yes,
All right,
I'll
very good.
turn it to you.
The only other thing under other business was Veterans Day. We were going to decide who was going to go over to Sergeant Woods.
Yeah, so Veterans Day, we talked about it last time. It's Friday, November 11th. There's going to be a ceremony at Sergeant Woods, and there'll be one at 8 Merrimack Road. So we wanted to make sure we kind of divide and conquer, so to speak. So anybody have a strong interest in going to one or the other?
Yeah, I'll go
I'll go here.
You'll go here to 8 Merrimack Road,
to, yep,
Charlie, and you'll go here?
yep.
Okay, Mike, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm, wherever
Are you available that day?
Of course I am.
Okay.
I got nothing else to do.
Yeah, awesome. So we will have
Matt, what's the date on that?
November 11th.
November 11th,
It's a Friday. So 11/11/11.
Yep,
So are you, Matt, are you going to Sergeant Woods?
Yes, yeah, I'll go to Sergeant Woods.
Okay.
And so we'll at least have me, and then these guys will be here at the fire station.
Yep.
And we're gonna get the word out via the postcards like we normally do, just to veterans, so that they can come, and we'll try to put together a good ceremony for them, so. Adele is gonna be singing at our ceremony. All right, Adele O'Leary from Newton,
Oh, okay.
but it's still Adele, so.
yeah.
Works.
She's never heard that joke before. I apologize publicly to her for making that joke, but she hears that all the time. She was probably the first part of her life before Adele was famous. She was probably never got it, but then all of a sudden Adele got famous. So moving right along.
Yes, please.
On that
Yes,
note,
on that note, do we have manifests anybody wants to do?
I'll do it. Move to sign vendor manifest dated October 18th, 2022, in the amount of $65,057.22, which includes ARPA cost of $890.64 to New England Trauma Services for disinfecting the fire rescue station post-primary election. Do we have a second?
second,
Seconded by Bob. All in favor?
Aye. Move to sign the highway revolving fund vendor manifest dated October 18, 2022, in the amount of $40,462.83.
second,
All in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Move to sign Police Special Detail Revolving Fund Vendor Manifest dated October 18th, 2022, in the amount of $2,219.78.
Second.
Seconded by Bob. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Move to sign Inspector's Fee Revolving Fund Vendor Manifest dated October 18, 2022, in the amount of $253.29.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Move to sign Payroll Manifest for pay period September 25th to October 8, 2022, with a pay date of October 13th, 2022. Total payroll is $54,623.10.
Second.
I'm not done. Which includes $806.64 of ARPA administrative cost.
Now I'll second.
There you go.
Excellent. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is that it for the manifests?
Requisitions. Move to sign requisition number 1051 Fire Department in the amount of $321.70 for carbon monoxide smoke detector.
321.
Huh?
321.
Yeah, that's what I said,
I thought
321.
he said 800.
No, 321, God.
Okay.
And 70 cents for carbon monoxide and smoke detectors to be given out to residents in an emergency. The funds to come from the Uniform Fire Watch Detail Revolving Fund.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Move appointments. Move to appoint Rob
Halleck.
as a member of the Conservation Commission, term to expire on April 30th, 2025.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Minutes. Move to accept the non-public and public minutes dated October 4th, 2022 as written.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So I'm not the only one that has a hard time with names.
Did we have,
Did we want to do the one at
Yeah.
the very top?
yeah,
I'm going to make a motion that we move to sign the letter to North Shore Bank informing them that the town has implemented a financial policy and procedures for accounts held at that bank.
Second.
so I would just, I would, like, friendly amendment, not just North Shore Bank, because we have
All
several.
financial institutions.
And also, I would add to the end of that, as recommended by draft audit findings.
Yes.
I couldn't update that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, no worries. All right, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
What else?
You want to do the candidates night?
So,
Announcements?
okay, yeah, we did the minutes, right?
Yep.
So,
Yep.
so yeah, tomorrow night, same time, same station, 7 o'clock to 8:30. You guys promise it'll be 8:30, that it'll end. So that's important. I said last time, that'll be the state reps, and it's different this year because we're pick 3. So be sure to come here in person. It'll be on cable, it'll be on Zoom. The next day it'll be available via YouTube, so come and watch, ask questions. Trunk or treat is this Saturday, 4:30 to 6:30 at Memorial School. And we're still, if you want to decorate a trunk, reach out to the recreation email, because we'd still, you can, if you're a nonprofit, a for-profit, a political candidate, a family, whatever, you can have a trunk. You just have to decorate it
A
and hand out
registered
candy.
vehicle.
Yeah, that's a good point. We don't allow non-registered vehicles. You got to
Yes.
take them home, you know. So, and the state elections are coming up, November 8th, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. We'll be voting at the Public Safety Complex. Anything else?
Yes.
Regular Halloween will be held,
October 31st is
what is it?
5:30 to 8:30. No, 5
What?
to 8.
5 to 8.
Yeah,
Yes.
just like the last time we announced
Right.
it.
Yep.
Matt, we didn't do the
Hasn't
veterans
changed.
tax credit.
Oh, yeah, we skipped that. Thank you,
Yep.
Charlie. So if we could go back to B.
I'll make a motion that we do the veterans tax credit, tax map 8-3-11-43.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Stuff.
And I'm sure we're missing something. Was there something else we were supposed to throw on the end?
I think we did it.
We did?
I think you got everything.
Everybody good?
Yeah, we did it.
All right, so
T's
anybody?
are crossed, I's are dotted.
Hopefully. Oh, I just wanted to point out, we took I don't know if it can appear on camera, but like I said earlier, we did a records management kind of clean out day on Friday and Saturday last week. We're able to identify a lot of stuff that can be destroyed. We're working on getting that shredded. And we've alleviated a lot of space concerns in there. And so the main thing now is going to be kind of the behavioral change of over retention, trying to just retain what we need to retain. So Joe?
So I have a question while she's coming up.
Yeah.
When are you gonna do the rest of the boxes?
How many are left, do you think?
Quite a few still.
From the selectmen?
No, the selectmen is only about 3, maybe 4 boxes, and then there's some other boxes in there
I
that
think those are
weren't.
I'm not sure who those are, but there
Yeah.
are some more boxes.
But yeah, because I put the selectmen boxes together, there's only like 3 or 4
Okay.
that have to get put through.
So you probably don't even need to worry about it. We'll get to it sooner or later.
Yeah.
But we'll have to just get to it before they come shred it, that's all.
Yeah,
So in that
and
case, don't
We
worry about
can
it.
handle it.
yeah, and we don't even have a date for shredding
No,
yet.
because I thought there were more boxes, but you're saying there's only 3 or 4.
Just keep
Yeah.
in mind, if you want me to come over on Friday, just let me know.
Okay,
Yeah,
sure.
because
Friday's
Mary
my better
Jo's
day.
got all of hers on those shelves for her to look at. Ours are on the floor, basically, over in the corner,
Okay, all right,
and that's it.
all right, very good.
So
Awesome.
that's kind of my question. At Conservation started working on our room. Can we put our boxes out here with you? Or okay, so we'll just bring in boxes. I think they were taking stuff home to bring it to the transfer station today. So we'll do it, we'll add it to here.
Yeah, to get
I think
shredded.
makes sense, yeah.
Okay, thank
Should
you.
be shredded
Oh,
and not
thank
just
you.
thrown away.
Right, right.
Yep. And once you put your few boxes in there, the whole shredding cost will go to you. I'm just being conservative.
What?
Yes, that's what I meant, Joe.
Yeah, exactly. What number? Quaker Grove, is that? All right, any,
I make a motion that we move to adjourn.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Have a good evening, everybody.